You start talking, and halfway through you forget your own point. So you stall, you add extra words, you try to fix it while you're still talking, and the more you try to clarify, the more confusing it sounds. Your point drifts, your message weakens, and now the person listening is trying to keep up, but slowly checking out. And the frustrating part is, you were clear. In your head, it made perfect sense, but when it came out, it didn't land. So you try to compensate, you explain more, add more detail, say the same thing in 3 different ways. But that only makes it worse. Because clarity doesn't come from saying more. It comes from how your thoughts are structured and how your words are delivered in real time. And here's the shift most people never make. You don't have a clarity problem. You have a delivery problem. Fix that, and everything changes. In this video, I'm going to show you 9 habits that will make you clear, confident, and easy to understand. Not surface-level tips, but habits you can use immediately every time you speak. We'll break them into 3 simple groups: how you deliver your words, how your voice carries your message, and how you think while you speak. And once you see these, you'll start noticing exactly why people lose track of what you're saying and how to fix it instantly. Let's start with the first group, because this is where most people lose clarity before they even realize it. Most people don't sound confusing because of what they say, but because they never give their words space to land. And the first habit is this: pause more. And it's way more powerful than it sounds. Let me show you what this sounds like. If I just keep talking without pausing, and I go from one idea to the next, and I don't give you any space at all, after a few seconds, everything starts to blur together. Nothing stands out. Nothing sticks. That's exactly what most people sound like. They move from one idea to the next without giving any space in between. No breaks, no separation, no time to process. And when that happens, your ideas don't land. They blend together. To you, it feels like you're being clear. But to the person listening, it feels like trying to drink from a fire hose. Too much, too fast, no structure. So they stop trying to follow. But the moment you introduce pauses, everything changes. Your words separate. Your ideas become easier to follow. Your message becomes clearer. And here's the part most people don't expect. Pausing doesn't make you sound nervous. It makes you sound confident. Because confident speakers don't rush to fill silence. They control it. They use silence to give weight to what they just said. Think of it like this. In writing, we don't put everything into one giant paragraph. We break it up so the reader can process it. Pauses do the exact same thing for your voice. They create space for your ideas to land. So instead of trying to speak smoothly all the time, focus on speaking clearly. Finish your thought, pause, then continue. That one habit alone will instantly make you easier to understand. And when you combine it with the next one, your words don't just become clear, they become powerful. Most people think speaking faster makes them sound smarter. It doesn't. It makes them harder to understand. So the second habit is this: slow down to highlight. Because when you speak at one constant speed, nothing stands out. Everything feels the same. It's like highlighting an entire page in a book. If everything is important, nothing feels important. And that's exactly how most people speak. Same speed, same rhythm, all the way through. So the listener doesn't know what actually matters. But when you slow down on purpose, you create contrast. And contrast is what creates clarity. Let me show you the difference. Most people would say it like this: your voice matters, and communication is one of the most important skills you can develop in your life. Now watch this. Your voice matters, and communication is one of the most important skills you will ever develop. Same words, but now you felt it. Because slowing down acts like a highlighter. It tells the listener, this part matters. And here's the key: you don't slow down all the time. Only when you want something to land. That's what great speakers do. They don't just control what they say, they control how it hits. So instead of trying to speak faster to sound more intelligent, slow down to be understood. And when you combine this with pausing, that's when your words start to carry weight. Now there's one more habit that completes this first group: Because even if you fix your pace, most people still lose clarity for one simple reason. You can pause, you can slow down, and still sound confusing. Because of one thing, rambling. And this is where most people lose clarity without even noticing. They start a sentence before they know how it ends. So they think while they speak, they add filler words, they go in circles, they keep correcting themselves mid-sentence, and suddenly they don't sound confident anymore. They sound unsure, even when they actually know what they're talking about. So the third habit is this: use declarative statements. Short, clear, complete. Because clarity isn't about saying more. It's about finishing your thought before you say it out loud. Let me show you what rambling actually sounds like. I was thinking maybe we could, kind of look at some other ideas for the content and maybe post more consistently or something like that. Now compare that to this. We need to post more consistently to improve our content. Same idea. But one feels scattered. The other feels clear and confident. Because declarative statements remove hesitation. They replace uncertainty with direction. And here's what most people don't realize. Rambling isn't a speaking problem. It's a thinking problem. You're trying to figure things out while you're already talking. That's why it feels messy. So here's the simple rule. If you can't say it in one clean sentence, you're not ready to say it yet. Pause, think, then speak. Clean, direct, done. And when you combine this with pausing and slowing down, something powerful happens. Your words stop sounding like noise and start sounding like signal. Now, you're not just speaking, you're being understood. That's what great delivery looks like. But delivery is only one part of the equation, because even if your structure is right, if your voice doesn't support your message, you'll still lose impact. So now let's move into the second group, vocal habits. Most people think their voice sounds weak because of confidence. It's not. It's because they're using it wrong. Let me ask you something. Have you ever finished speaking and your voice felt tired, dry, or weaker than it should be? It just didn't sound the way you expected? That's not random. It's predictable. And it comes down to one habit. You're not warming up your voice. Because your voice isn't just sound, it's a muscle system. And if you go from silence to full effort instantly, it won't perform at its best. It will strain, it will tighten, and over time, it will weaken. That's why after long conversations, presentations, or even a full day of talking, your voice feels off. But here's the real reason people skip this. It feels awkward, it feels unnecessary, and no one else around you is doing it. So you don't do it either. But this one habit alone can completely change how your voice sounds. Stronger, clearer, more controlled. Let me show you the simplest version. Lip trills. It looks weird, but it works. Try this. Take a breath and let your lips vibrate like this. Brr. Do that for about a minute. If it feels hard, just press your cheeks lightly and try again. Then take any simple melody, even your favorite song, and do the same thing. What you're doing is warming up your voice without straining it. You're improving breath control, reducing tension, and preparing your voice before you actually use it. And here's the difference. When you don't warm up, you're forcing your voice to perform. But when you do, your voice works with you, not against you. And over time, that changes everything. You sound clearer, you project better, and you stop feeling that fatigue after speaking. Most people try to fix their words, but your voice is the vehicle that carries them. If the vehicle is weak, the message won't land. So before you focus on what to say, make sure your voice is ready to carry it. Now here's where it gets interesting. There's another habit that affects your voice all day long, even when you're not speaking. You're damaging your voice without even speaking. And almost no one realizes this. It comes down to one thing: how you breathe. Most people, without noticing, default to mouth breathing throughout the day, while working, while focused, while distracted. And it feels harmless. But it's not. Because mouth breathing silently works against your voice. It dries your throat, it reduces control, and it creates tension before you even say a word. So when it's finally time to speak, your voice already feels off, weaker, less stable, less clear. And that's why some days you feel like you're not confident, when in reality, your voice just isn't supported. Now here's the shift: nose breathing. Because when you breathe through your nose, your voice is being supported all day long. Your throat stays hydrated, your airflow becomes more controlled, and your body stays more relaxed, which means when you speak, your voice responds better. And here's what makes this powerful. You do this over 20,000 times a day. So this isn't a small habit, it's a multiplier. It either weakens your voice or strengthens it all day long, and most people ignore it because it feels too simple. Breathing is breathing, but it's not. The way you breathe sets the foundation for how you sound. So here's a simple check. Right now, are you breathing through your mouth or your nose? Because that answer is already shaping your voice. And the goal is simple: make nose breathing your default. Not just when you speak, but all the time. Because when your breathing improves, your voice improves with it. And when your voice improves, your message becomes stronger without you changing a single word. Now, there's one more vocal habit, and this one changes how people feel when you speak. People don't just listen to you, they feel you. And most people are barely felt. Because of one thing: their volume. Now, I'm not talking about shouting, I'm talking about presence. Because when you speak with low volume, something subtle happens. Your words don't just get quieter, they get weaker. Your message feels smaller, your confidence feels lower, and people stop leaning in, even if what you're saying actually matters. But when you speak with healthy volume, everything changes. Your voice fills the space. Your words carry energy, and people don't just hear you, they feel you. Let me show you something. Say this out loud, softly. This matters. Now say it again with presence. This matters. Same words, completely different impact, because before people process your words, they feel your energy. And your voice is what carries that energy. It tells them, I'm here. I believe this. You should listen. And they pick up on that instantly. That's why two people can say the exact same sentence, and one is ignored while the other is remembered. Same words, different presence. And here's the truth most people avoid. You're not too loud, you're too contained. You're holding back your voice to avoid being too much. But in doing that, you become not enough. Because when your voice doesn't carry, your message doesn't connect. So this isn't about being louder, it's about being felt. Match your volume to the importance of what you're saying, because when your voice carries, your conviction carries with it. And when your conviction carries, people listen differently. Now we've covered your delivery, we've covered your voice, but there's one final layer that controls everything. Because even if you sound clear and your voice is strong, you can still lose people inside your own thinking. You're not losing people because of what you say, you're losing them while you're still talking, because of what's happening in your mind. You can have great delivery, you can have a strong voice, and still sound confusing. Because most people don't speak in clear thoughts, they speak in fragments. They start one idea, then jump to another, then interrupt themselves mid-sentence. And the worst part, you can actually see it happening. People start to lose focus. They stop reacting. They stop following. They start checking out. Not because your idea is bad, but because it's hard to track. Let me show you what this sounds like. So I think we should launch next week. Oh, and also, did you see the feedback from the team? And actually, we might need to adjust the timeline, but also, the landing page needs work. That's not communication, that's noise. Now compare that to this. We should launch next week. Let's align the team on that goal first. Then we improve the landing page to increase conversions. Same ideas, but now they're structured. And when your ideas are structured, people don't have to chase you, they can follow you. And when people can follow you, they trust you. So the habit is this: finish one thought before starting the next. Because clarity isn't about having better ideas, it's about delivering one idea at a time. And here's the deeper problem. When you jump between thoughts, You're thinking and speaking at the same time. That's why it feels messy. So instead, separate the two. Think first, then speak. One clear idea at a time. That alone will make you sound more structured, more confident, and easier to follow. Now here's where this gets powerful. There's a simple tool that organizes your thoughts before you even say them. And once you use it, you don't just speak clearly, you think clearly. If you ever feel like your thoughts get messy when you speak, this will fix it immediately. Because this is the tool that organizes your thinking before you even say a word. It's simple. 3 steps. And once you learn it, you can use it in any conversation. It's called context, core, connect. First, context. This is where most people lose clarity before they even begin. They jump straight into what they want to say without telling people why it matters. So the listener is already behind. Context answers one question: why should I care? Then, core. This is your main point. Not multiple ideas, not a long explanation, one clear message, because clarity comes from focus. And finally, connect. This is where you link your message to the person listening. Why does this matter to them? What changes for them? Why should they pay attention? That's what makes your message land. Now watch the difference. Without a framework, it sounds like this. Hey, I was looking at the project, and I think we might need more people because the timeline is tight, and the marketing team also mentioned that we could fall behind. Now with the framework, hey, we're approaching a tight deadline. We need more people on this project. This will help us finish on time without burning out the team. Same message, but now it's structured. It's clear. It's easy to follow, because instead of rambling, you're leading. And here's the shift. Clarity isn't about saying more. It's about organizing what you say. And once you start using frameworks like this, you stop over-explaining, you stop losing people, and you start sounding like someone who knows exactly what they're saying. Now there's one final habit, and this one will make sure people don't just understand you, they remember you. These 9 habits can completely change the way you speak. But more importantly, they change how people experience you. Because the way you speak isn't just communication. It's how people decide whether to listen, whether to trust, and whether to remember you. And most people go through life being misunderstood, not because they lack ideas, but because they lack clarity, and that's frustrating. Having something valuable to say, but not being able to make it land. But now, that changes. Because now, you know how to create space with pauses, you know how to create impact with pacing, you know how to bring clarity with structure, and you know how to support your voice so it actually carries your message. So don't try to impress people with how much you say. Make them feel something with how clearly you say it. Because in the end, people won't remember every word you said, but they will remember how you made them feel when you said it. So use this in your next conversation, in your next meeting, in your next opportunity. Because the better you speak, the more of who you are people actually get to see. And when that happens, everything changes. Your ideas land, your presence grows, your voice carries, and people don't just hear you, they remember you.